Brisbane Wakes Up with Stav, Abby and Matt on B105.
Destination unknown.
Bali.
Lily loves Bali. Island of Bali.
I'm not sure if your Instagram algorithm is dishing up the same as mine at the moment, and it's people in Bali, and I'm not talking about those on holiday sucking on bintangs. It's Australians who have relocated their entire family over there because the cost of living in Australia has just gotten out of control, and they're sharing their tips on how you may want to do it for your family as well. This guy's name is Matt Cameron. He is dishing up some hard truths about Australia and why he moved.
Parking fines. The fuel excess tax is absolutely massive. Electricity bills are absolutely nuts. Australia, start looking at the little hits you're getting every single day, and you will realise that you are going backwards every single year.
And Matt is talking to us all the way from Bali this morning. Hey, Matt. Thanks for being with us.
No worries, guys.
So why did you actually pack up and go to Bali?
I think, guys, it was just, we were calling Australia the lucky country since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And really what we'd realised as we started to become more successful in business, we noticed that it was becoming extremely problematic in order to be able to make money. It was just near impossible to make money and retain money. So you could... I was talking to my father, and he was talking about the lucky country as the head of the Royal Australian Navy, and, he was saying to me that he was just disgusted about where we've ended up, where we've now sort of taxed to the hills. Mm-hmm. And, the richer we got, we just didn't seem to see a lot more in our pockets.
You pay tax on the money you earn, on the money you spend, on the products you buy, on anything that you might make investment on. So everyone's saying that everything is taxed. But you said, that point, do you feel like it's one of those things where the further you get, I guess, higher up, that's when you kind of go, the big businesses or really successful people are taxed so much to pay for others?
To a certain point. I think that one of the biggest problems I feel like we've got is we're not taxing the bigger businesses when you're talking about the giants. Certainly something which you can see billions of dollars are going overseas with natural resources. A lot of them aren't paying tax in Australia, the big corporations. But I think for the smaller guys, where we struggle is there's just so many levels of tax. We end up with new taxes all the time. They talk about potentially taxing super, inheritance. It just seems like every single time that they need to find more money, they just introduce a new law or a new revenue grab. And for us, it just became too problematic. We were looking at our lifestyle in Australia and we were doing really well. And we were like, why don't we have a better life than this? And so we looked outside.
I think it does get frustrating, doesn't it? Because most people, when they get a pay rise, they go, fantastic. I'm going to have a little bit of extra money now where I can enjoy myself a little more. But then you look at house prices being from 10 to 14 times the annual salary and just increasing constantly. Rents are through the roof. When you get a pay rise, it's actually not even usually in line with inflation half the time. So you're not any better off.
That's exactly right. I mean, what we found when we looked at it, we went, okay, well, the average Aussie, if they just moved overseas, so say they just went to Bali, Indonesia, for instance, they'd see an extra 25K in their bank account just by relocating.
Well, I often found it was very strange to me. I got a second job. And as soon as you get a second job, they tax half of it. That's kind of it in a nutshell, really, isn't it, Matt?
I think that's absolutely right. My wife and I are lucky enough to be in a strong financial position, but when I started the Instagram because I felt like I needed to stand up for the people who aren't. 3 months ago, I had no followers. Now I've got almost 60,000 and millions of views, and I'm getting a couple of hundred DMs every single day from families that are just desperate to find a solution. They're not people that are dreaming. They're people that just can't afford to live anymore. I think people understand that I'm really just trying to spread a message that we should just wake up and start asking a few more questions. And do we all just settle for the status quo, or do we start to have to look outside of Australia to be able to create a better life for ourselves?
Can we get a breakdown from you of your expenses now living in Bali, like rents and food bill and stuff like that, just so people can compare where they're at with their budgets?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, the easiest way to work it out would be we were spending about $130K a year on rent in Australia. We've taken that same money, we've moved across to Bali, and we've doubled the size of our house. So we now live in a massive villa with a huge pool and, 6 bedrooms as opposed to 4. For the same money, we have 3 full-time housekeepers that work 6 days a week. We have a full-time chef and a chef's assistant that cooks all of our meals and, makes all of the kids' lunches and all that sort of stuff and what have you. We've got security out the front of the house and we have a full-time driver that's able to drive us around everywhere.
Do you need a janitor? Do you need a janitor?
Like, why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
This is the dream that Matt is selling to people. I want to know what we're after here. Right, so for the same cost of just your 4-bedroom house, you've got all of that in Bali.
That's right.
And so then you've obviously got to pay for schooling and your healthcare over there as well?
Yeah, that's right. So, look, schooling would be similar or less, depending on the schools you pick. But, I mean, within Bali alone, there's 6 top international schools that have Australian and US teachers. We had a whole load to choose from.
Oh, please tell me you chose the green school. That's where I want to go.
The green school's cool, and we actually go there for sporting events, but it's quite far away from our house.
Yeah, fair enough.
So our kids go to CCS. CCS.
Your driver won't drive that far, Matthew?
I'm sure he would. I think the kids would be the ones complaining.
Yeah, the green school's like all the lessons are outdoors, you know what I mean? It's like, here's physics out on the stream.
That's it.
Right. And do you...
And then on medical... With regards to Medicare, everyone's banging on about Medicare, free Medicare, all this sort of stuff. It's definitely not free. We get a tax for that in Asia. With the money that I'm saving by relocating ourselves and our companies to Singapore and Dubai, we could almost buy a hospital. The amount of money we're saving.
Right.
It's not even comparable. Like the amount of money we'd spend on medical each year is a little drop in the ocean.
Well, Matt, you have relocated your family to Bali and you're documenting it all online. We'll put your links up on our socials so people can check you out. Matt T. Cameron, thanks so much for your time this morning, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. That's great.
Stav, Abby and Matt for breakfast. B105.